Hello friends, and welcome back to Scaling Stories. Today, I've got some more highly upvoted posts from Best of Redditor updates for you all. Like always, I'll be reading you the posts and giving you my opinions, and I'll also be working on building up my Forever World at the same time, so I hope you enjoy. Also, I'm currently only in Spotify's creator program, so watching on there would help me out a ton. Thank you so much for your support. Today's first story comes from the relationships subreddit. It was posted by Late Night Phone 99 on October 23rd, 2015, and was titled, My 23 male, fiancé, 26 female, is on her phone every night from 5 a.m. until 6:30 a.m. 7-year relationship. Hey, every night for the last week, my significant other has woken me up at about 5 a.m. until around about 6:30 a.m. She does this by going onto her phone. I'm an extremely light sleeper. In the past, I would wake up at anything. It got so bad, I was taking pills for years to help me sleep. One day, I forgot to take them, and I was awoken at about 5 a.m. to my fiancée on her phone, who very quickly hid it and pretended to sleep. I thought, okay, a bit strange, but maybe she just can't sleep and wanted to let me sleep? Nothing strange about that. Then, after a few more times of me forgetting to take my pills and her waking me up, I clicked that every single time I wake up at that time, she is on her phone. So, for the last week, I have been destroying my sleep pattern by purposely not taking my pills. So far, I've gathered she is on her phone for about an hour and a half and is typing a lot. She has an alarm set that's quiet that wakes her up, and now me. I wake up at 7 a.m. for work. I wonder, if I don't have to get up for work, would she be on her phone even longer? I might have to take one of my annual holidays to find out. At this stage, I think there's something funny going on. Like, why else would she be going on and off her phone at very specific times of the night? I once took her phone off her like a child and put it in my drawer, and I was woken up to her trying to sneak out of the bed to get it. I know she went to get it, as I watched her, and then I watched her put it back by opening my eyes slightly. I do not want to confront her. I don't want her to know I'm onto her, which we all know, if she is doing something she shouldn't be doing, will just make her hide it even more than she already does. If it turns out she is talking to another man in some sort of emotional cheating, I'll be kicking her out of my house. There's no way she gets to stay at home doing whatever she wants all day while I'm working to support her, while she wants to be a stay-at-home mom and housewife. Literally her dream. I'm posting here to see if anyone has any ideas on what might be going on here before I take this to the next level and actually try to find out what she is doing. I'm hesitant to go that route because I'm scared of what I might find out. So hopefully, the fine people here will be able to give me some answers that are not emotionally or physically cheating. Thanks for the help. Scaling Stories Corner. So, of course, cheating is a possibility when we're talking about Reddit stories. But honestly, I don't really know if I chalk this one up to cheating right off the bat. It just doesn't really strike me like that. My first thoughts were that OP's girlfriend might be trying to remember her dreams better, so she's trying to write down what she can remember immediately after waking up. But I have no idea why she can't just say she's doing that if this was the case, when OP took her phone away and put it in the drawer and she ended up sneaking her phone out. I think the sneaking the phone out part definitely is kind of weird behavior, but I still find it hard to attribute to cheating, because that would mean the affair partner is also up at like 5 or 6 a.m. only just to talk to her. That seems like a little bit much in my opinion. That's some super dedicated cheating if that's the case. Also, you gotta just be comfortable talking to your significant other about what the heck they're doing at 5 to 6 a.m. if it's ruining your sleep schedule. That's just like basic communication you should have in your relationship. Maybe she'll have a reasonable answer, or maybe it'll be shady, but either way, you can't let yourself be sleep deprived because you think you can't confront her. Now here are some of the top/relevant comments from the original post. Commenter 1 says, I don't know what she's up to, but it's definitely suspicious. Well, I think you'd be nuts to take a holiday from work and then lie there, pretending to sleep for 3 hours, to see if she stays on the phone longer because you didn't set an alarm. Either take her phone and look through it for anything suspicious, or confront her. But for crying out loud, don't wait. You're just making this harder on yourself. OP says, when you put it like that, it seems so ridiculous that I was thinking of doing that. Commenter 2 says, here's a non-nefarious possibility. Maybe she's journaling, recording thoughts, making to-do lists, or setting up utility apps? I don't know why it's so hard just to talk to her though. Hey, Rudy McRudeface, the phone thing from 5 to 6:30? And yes, I've timed it. Needs to stop. It's totally waking me up. And what are you doing on your phone? Typing like crazy at the break of dawn anyway. Edit. I don't want to imply that I think she's innocent, cause honestly, nah. Was just trying to provide an alternative possibility. OP says, I like your idea. I think I will give that a go tomorrow, or once I'm in from work. I wasn't too sure how to raise it other than, what are you doing on your phone at X time? Which, if she's doing nothing, will make me look crazy, and she will go on a huge rant about how I don't trust her, etc. And if she is lying, then it'll be the end of the relationship. At least this way, I can bring it up without her thinking I'm accusing her of anything. Commenter 3 says, on the one hand, that's super suspicious. On the other hand, I wake up every morning to my girlfriend reading the news and Facebook on her phone. She probably starts at 5:30 or 6 a.m. and continues to when she goes to take a shower at 7:15 a.m. But you said she's typing a lot. She has an alarm to wake her up. That weirds me out. Have you thought of sleeping on your side, facing her, and trying to get a glimpse of what she's doing on her phone when you wake up? OP says, no, I've never thought of sleeping on that side. For some reason, I've always slept on one side and have never been able to sleep any other way, so trying to sleep on the other side has never occurred to me. Worth a shot, I guess, or maybe roll over at 5:30 and stay sleeping in that position for a while. Thanks for the idea. OP later adds an edit to his post. Repost, as I didn't have a relationship length on the old one. In the old post, people mentioned how it's weird I don't trust her. I do trust her. However, in the past, she did emotionally cheat on me. So while I trust her, it's always on my mind. And this is exactly what happened the last time it happened. I didn't mention this in the OP because I wanted a fresh set of eyes to look at this issue, and felt if you knew this information, you may not give me as good advice. As in, everything would just be, she is doing it again, rather than the wide range of potential reasons I got previously, which are all also very likely to happen. I will also say that since I found this sub 3 months ago, I've been on infidelity daily, which may be clouding my judgment somewhat. I've also been on here long enough now to know that if something was going on and I ask her about it, I may never find out what happened. When I say before I go and find out what she is doing, I mean catch her red-handed, not sneak on her phone. Update 4 days later. Hey everyone, I have a small update to my situation. I've been hesitant to post this because I feel mega stupid at the moment. Firstly, wow, thanks for all the comments. I didn't expect that many people to comment or even relate to the issue I was having, but clearly I was wrong. So, basically, I got in from work, and after feeling pretty stupid reading over some of the replies about how silly it was that I was trying to move a few inches over an hour just to see what she was up to, which, looking back, sounds mega effing stupid, I just asked her, hey, I noticed you have been going on your phone from about 5 until 6:30. What's up with that? She got all excited, which I wasn't expecting at all. And basically, it came down to she has been planning the wedding on her iPhone and is trying to keep it hidden from me until she was done. She sat me down and we went over all the stuff, just tons of stuff, dresses, flowers, venues, hairstyles. I was taken a bit back by it as I was not expecting this at all. Basically, this is what was happening. 5:05, she needs to be on her games. Some cafe, train, and plane simulator games, where she has everything timed so when she goes to bed, until 5:05, the game is busy. Then at 5:05, she has to do some stuff, which takes her to about 5:30. Then at 5:30 until 6:30, she would be planning the wedding. And then at 6:30, she would go back to sleep in time for me waking up at 7. Just a note, it's them real-time games, so tanks will take minutes to hours or even days in real life. She said she would put her cafe and other games on longer missions and stop waking up so early since she no longer has to hide it from me. I ended up telling her that I thought she was cheating on me again. This ended up getting me into a small argument about how I still don't trust her, etc. But she ended it with, it just takes some time, and she can wait for me to get ready, and how she deserves it since she broke my trust in the past. I do trust her, and I am over her cheating. It doesn't even bother me anymore. However, when she does sketchy as F stuff like this, You can't help wondering, even more so when this is exactly what happened in the past. The similarities are haunting. That doesn't mean I don't trust her. It just means she is doing the exact same thing as last time. And to me, it would be more believable if she was trying to cheat a second time. And it stirs up them old emotions, which have been buried for a very long time. Anyway, I said maybe we shouldn't get married and cancel the engagement, like some people recommended, which she basically said we could do, but she will be leaving, and I still want to be with her. So we ended up agreeing that I would get therapy to try and sort out any issues I may have and to teach me not to go from 0 to 100 on the she is cheating on me radar. She let me view her phone, and if I wanted, I could recover her texts, etc. Which, to be honest, yes. I thought about it in passing thought, viewing her phone, recovering deleted info, and checking downloaded apps for Kik, etc. This way before we had our talk, but never serious, and I decided the fact she is willing to put that on the table means I should trust her on this, and so I did that. I also felt like if I picked that phone up and checked everything in detail, it would take our relationship back a few years. Sorry for the anticlimactic update. In the end, all this did was make me feel stupid, and I should have just talked to her to begin with. Somewhere along the line, our communication just died down, and we stopped telling each other things. We are working on resolving that. Just to note, as well, while she is planning the wedding won't be for another couple of years at the minimum. We decided on a long engagement when we started it, and won't be getting married until we are both in the right place in our own lives to make that commitment. ScalingStories Corner. So, I feel like I got some whiplash when reading OP's first initial edit on his original post, and then more so a bit when reading his update post about how his insecurities and suspicions stemmed because his girlfriend did in fact cheat on him in the past. Then yeah, I do understand why he was so suspicious of his girlfriend doing stuff on her phone in the super early mornings. He did end up forgiving her for her initial instance of cheating on him, and that's his decision to make. All I'm going to say is that I think trust is really important in a relationship, and she's already broken your trust before. So if you're deciding to stay in the relationship to give it another chance, then you have to commit to completely trusting her to not do you wrong again and not let those thoughts plague you in the relationship. Otherwise, it would have been better to break up and not waste your time in the relationship, you know? And I'm not saying it's OP's fault at all. It's entirely his girlfriend's fault for breaking his trust in the first place. But I'm just saying that if he's choosing to give her another chance, then he should fully commit to it and not let that insecurity ruin the relationship that's trying to be mended. Now here are some of the top/relevant comments from the update post. Commenter 1 says, I really can't understand why there are still people here in the comments that think she was sneaking around or cheating. Why would you wake up at 5 a.m. to text someone you were having an affair with while being in the same bed as your current partner? I'm glad that you chose to communicate though, and therapy is a good idea. Hopefully, you can resolve your trust issues and the issues with your relationship and work things out happily. OP says, why would you wake up at 5 a.m. to text someone you were having an affair with while being in the same bed as your current partner? This is exactly what happened when she cheated on me last time. Commenter 2 says, I really think you should clarify that she was emotionally cheating on you before, not physically cheating on you. There's a huge difference. And how far did the emotional cheating go? Was it sexual messages or just some flirting? I'm of the opinion that emotional cheating is far from the end of the world. OP says it was emotional, and it went from fantasizing right up to sending videos, sometimes while I was in bed with her. Some photos I saw included me in them asleep, back of the head, etc. Photos hidden inside an iPhone app that's like a calculator, but if you put in the key, her birthday, it will unlock to a hidden photo gallery. Commenter 3 says, man, it's plain as day that you don't trust her. Would you really try to call off an engagement for no reason at all? Also, it's pretty clear that your communication issues stem from lingering distrust. It's good to hear that you're going to try therapy. Do you plan on going together? OP says, I do trust her, but just this was the exact same situation that happened the last time she cheated on me, so it's just hard to not go, ah crap, not this again. But I think one time out of the last few years is a good record. Yeah, I will go alone for a little bit, but we will be going together. OP later adds an edit to his post. A couple of people touched on the subject in the original post, But the only reason I posted here before going to her directly is because at the time, to me, she was doing the exact same stuff as she did when she first cheated on me. So, to me, obviously, that's going to make me a bit paranoid and worried. I also posted here to get other ideas and help on how to confront her. If I confronted her and she was doing it again, I doubt I could trust anyone again, and my relationship would be over. If I confronted her and she wasn't cheating again, that would cause huge arguments, and I'm quite a non-confrontational guy. OP later adds a second edit to his post. This post was typed up in about 3 minutes while I was on the tail end of my lunch hour. There are loads of details missed out. However, it was not a case of me going, "Oh, I thought you were cheating on me and we should cancel the engagement." It was more her asking me why I brought it up, and I explained the reasons and why I felt this way and how it was so similar to the past that I couldn't help but think that. I then explained to her that maybe, until we work on ourselves and our communication, that we should cancel the engagement and do it again in time once we are over this part. It was not me saying, "Yeah, I thought you were cheating, and now I want to cancel the engagement." It was a 2-hour or so discussion between the both of us on our feelings. Okay, friends, so that concludes our first story of the day. Next up, we have a story from the Two Hot Takes subreddit. It was posted by MoneyDonut7375 on February 4th, 2026, and was titled, "Mother-in-law invited people we don't know to our wedding. She won't uninvite them because that's embarrassing." Sorry for the length, but I wanted to make sure people have enough information. My fiancé and I, male/female, both mid-20s, got engaged in January 2025 and plan on getting married in spring 2026, very soon. Wedding planning has been a nightmare. It seems like everyone has an expectation for how the wedding/wedding planning is supposed to be. For context, I am paying for 75% of the wedding, and the parents are covering the remaining 25%, although they like to act like they're paying for everything. I was able to call out my parents for their behavior and draw boundaries, but with his parents, particularly my mother-in-law, they have been very difficult, even the small stuff. Some examples. Fiancé and I toured venues alone. His parents were very upset they didn't get to see the venue beforehand. Like, really upset. I ended up scheduling a second tour so both our parents could see it. Simple fix. I mentioned how I wanted to do wax seals on our invites and had already bought the supplies. But my mother-in-law was adamant I use different supplies and do the seals how she liked them. I talked about the tentative timeline. The wedding will run from 3:30 to 9:30 p.m. Everyone has to be off the property by 10 p.m. because of noise ordinances. It's outdoors. My mother-in-law was disappointed. Apparently, 6 hours was just not enough time. My mother-in-law bought my fiancé lotion, body wash, and a candle from Bath and Body Works. It's part of a wedding collection they had. She requires that my fiancé use the products the day of the wedding. It will be a moment, she said. The biggest fight so far, the church. We were both raised Catholic and chose not to get married in the church. My family doesn't care. Lots of us have moved away from the faith anyway. His family? Tears. Pleading. Begging. Please pray about it. God will still love you, but wouldn't it be great to have God's blessing? My brother, who is a Pentecostal pastor, will be officiating. Now, on to the guest list. We both come from large families. That would put us at a guest list of 100 people for just the core group. Parents, siblings, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. Add in friends and selective plus ones, and we'd get to around 150 people. That's plenty of people. My parents asked if they could invite some of their friends. Nope, not happening. We are full. They were a little mad but didn't push the subject further. But then there's his parents. Unbeknownst to my fiancé or me, my mother-in-law forwarded our save the date to several members of her extended family that we do not know. We only found out this past November. She asked to see the guest list during Thanksgiving to make sure everyone who needs to be invited is invited. Immediate red flag. We told her who was invited, and then she began listing names we had never heard of. We were confused and said they're not invited. She's visibly upset and starts arguing with my fiancé. She says that these are the most important people to her and she already invited them. He tells her it's not her place to invite people to our wedding. I stay out of it, but my face speaks for me. They go back and forth for a while, but it gets nowhere. I signaled to my fiancé to let it go and we can talk about it later. We left the conversation telling my mother-in-law we'll talk about it after Thanksgiving. Well, we never talked about it. My fiancé tried to make a game plan with his dad, thinking if he could be on our side, it would make talking to his mom much easier. But they are both non-confrontational and wanted to ignore the entire situation. I guess my mother-in-law was crying to my father-in-law about the guest list for a while. It was eating her alive. My father-in-law got annoyed and fed up and texted my fiancé to invite the additional people. My fiancé said no, but they won't let it go. I let my fiancé know he should continue to handle it since it's his parents. But the second his parents involve me, I'll handle it. He doesn't want that to happen. 3 days ago, it happened. She involved me. My mother-in-law texted my fiancé and me in a group chat. She starts off strong. I have thought about the people in my life that really matter to me that I would like to be invited to your wedding. To put it short, she pulls a dead parents card. Dad passed when she was 11 and mom passed when she was in her mid-20s, and talks about how these people are parts of her parents. She claims they've been at every big family event. I haven't met these people in the past 7 years we've been together, and my fiancé says he's only met them a couple of times. She even said not everyone invited is going to make it, so there should be room to invite additional people. She's already invited them, and they're so excited. She even sent them the hotel block information, 7 to 8 weeks after we initially told her they weren't invited. It would be really embarrassing for her to uninvite them after all of that. She's praying we allow them at our wedding. His parents did offer to cover the additional costs. We haven't responded since. Here's my perspective. It's not about money. It's about respect. We've spent months now telling his parents how it's going to be, but they won't respect what we say. They worry more about how they feel. My mother-in-law is upset the wedding isn't how she pictured, and my father-in-law just wants her to be quiet. I empathize with my mother-in-law's situation and losing her parents all those years ago. I lost my mom 4 years ago, and then my brother less than 2 years later. It sucks that there are people who can't be there, and it's out of our control. But that doesn't mean she can require certain people to be invited. She might be the mother of the groom, but she is a guest. Guests can't control how the wedding will be. She's already crossed so many boundaries, and it's not my responsibility to fix the mistakes she made. I told my fiancé, since it's his family, he makes the decision, and I will support him. He said he wants to give in, just to make it all stop, but that sets the wrong precedent. He doesn't want these people there. He's not close enough with them, and if they were really that important, they would have been around more. He also doesn't want to start a marriage by ignoring my feelings and just doing what his mom says. He's torn and hurting. I've offered to be the one to respond, as I promised, so that I can take the heat. But he doesn't want to ruin the little chance I have at building a relationship with his mom. With that, how would you respond? We agreed any response needs to be in writing since most of our conversations have been verbal and misconstrued. Having it in writing makes it clearer. Should I mention that the second venue tour I scheduled with the parents is in 3 days? Thanks in advance for whatever advice you can give. ScalingStories Corner. Okay, so never had a wedding before, but this is entirely just all too much from the mother-in-law. It feels like she wants to show off how much control she can have over the wedding when it's not even her wedding. I think OP's fiancé needed to shut that down, similar to how OP shut down her parents at the start, where she mentioned being able to draw lines and boundaries. And on the wedding guest topic issue, I don't see why it matters why the people important to the mother-in-law have to be invited to OP and her fiancé's wedding. Again, it's not the mother-in-law's wedding. If she's going to be allowed to invite people she feels like are important to her life, then I'm sure you can apply the same logic and reasoning to any of the other parents, right? Like, I'm sure there are people important to OP's parents and the father-in-law, but you don't see them trying to invite people to a wedding that's, once again, not theirs. I would simply say that these people were not discussed with me beforehand. I don't know these people. They are not invited to the wedding. If that would cause a problem with the mother-in-law and strain our relationship, then that's entirely her fault. If that was me, I don't think I would personally care about the relationship with someone who so easily ignores me and is so comfortable stepping on my boundaries, even if that is my partner's mother. Of course, I think you should show everyone you meet with some respect, but if no respect is being shown back, then, that kind of is what it is. Now, here are some of the top/relevant comments from the original post. Commenter 1 says, you should only allow your mother-in-law to invite her people if your folks can do the same. But honestly, do you really want people you don't even know at your wedding? I caved to my mother-in-law for my wedding, and I still regret it. I've been married for 30 years, by the way. OP says, funny enough, she says the same thing about her wedding. Complains about how many friends and additional family each of their parents invited. She said it was overwhelming. When we say this is exactly the same as what she experienced, she backtracks. Commenter 2 says, oh God, imagine what's going to happen when kids come into the picture. OP says, don't even get me started on the kid convo. Did you know the entire point of marriage is to have children? No other reasons. Commenter 3 says, your fiancé needs to take his balls back from his mother, who apparently keeps them in her purse. Yes, you can put it to bed, but is that the life you want? He doesn't like confrontation. Okay, and? Adults have to do lots of things we don't like without pushing our responsibilities off on others. Imagine how she will be if you have kids. Do you always want to be the enforcer? Do you always want to have to deal with the drama because your husband doesn't like to? That isn't fair to you. He needs to put his foot down and end this nonsense. Yes, you could do it, but guess what? So can he. He will grow from the experience. Let him do that. OP says he's gotten much better about sticking up for himself, but certainly it's not been perfect. He struggles to have difficult conversations, especially because his parents don't argue with reason, just emotion. The idea of me being the enforcer has more to do with the fact that they can't argue with me the way they argue with him. They don't speak to us the same way. They'll keep pushing him and never listen. They're usually pretty quiet once I get involved. It's a weird dynamic. Commenter 4 says, I don't understand why brides allow anyone to dictate their wedding choices. For the love of Zeus, learn to say the word no and mean it. Use the wax seal if you want it. Tell her she will uninvite her unapproved guests, or they will be turned away at the door by security you are hiring. And then just do that. You are getting married, so presumably you are adults. Start acting like it. OP says, the problem is, they don't understand the meaning of no. It's not in their dictionary. We've said it multiple times, but it just doesn't click. Wax seals? Yeah, I appeased her for the time and then went home and made the invites how I wanted them. The candle lotion stuff? We've already burnt the candle. Nice scent. We'll just happen to forget the other things at home the day of the wedding. Oops. The church/venue issues? Well, I already paid the venue, so can't change it now. The guest listing is just something less out of our control in terms of how the response will be. I don't have the contact information of the people she invited, so it's not like I can tell them myself. What if these people show up even after confirming several times they weren't invited? Then it turns into this huge dramatic moment that was avoidable if his parents knew what no meant. We just want to avoid a massive family blowup at the wedding. OP says to another commenter, I already sent out paper invites. Obviously, these people will not receive one. We have an online RSVP on our wedding website, and they won't be able to RSVP because their names don't show up on the guest list. But people are unpredictable. I hope common sense would tell them they're not invited based on the fact that they didn't receive an invite, but I fear my mother-in-law's persistence might give them the wrong impression. Some people commented that my fiancé clearly told me he wants to invite them, and I didn't support his decision. So, I asked him to clarify his position to make sure I didn't misunderstand him. He said, she can go F herself. Crass, but it gets the point across. I asked him what he meant when he previously mentioned just giving in to her request, and he said, instinctually, he just wants to give in. That's how he was raised. But, realistically, he thinks it's unfair of her to put us in this position, and she shouldn't get her way. She's manipulated him in the past, and he wants to end the cycle. OP says to another commenter, I get your point. Here's some context that might clear things up. I didn't mention this in the post, but when we first got engaged, my fiancé had spoken with his parents about wedding expectations, including the guest list. He mentioned we planned on keeping the guest list simple since it was already sizable with just those we want to invite. They thought it was valid. They even talked about their experience at their wedding when their own parents invited a bunch of people they didn't know. My mother-in-law complained about it and said it was so overwhelming for her. Seemed like everyone was on the same page about how we were going about the guest list. Fast forward to a few months ago, we find out she invited people we don't know and didn't ask if she could. She just expected she could. It was like that earlier conversation never happened. We brought up her experience at her wedding and she backtracked. I think it's less about a guest list and more about wanting things her way. We're not having the wedding the way she wants it, so she's trying to find a means to get her way in some capacity. On top of that, I've told my own parents they couldn't invite their friends, people we actually know. Feels weird to hold a standard for one family but not the other. Update, 2 months, 2 weeks later. Hi everyone. It's been a few months, and I figured I could provide a bit of an update. The biggest update is we got married. It was such an amazing day, and went just as we had planned. We're still in awe of how perfect it was for us. We don't regret a thing, except our DJ, but that's a story for another time. In regards to dealing with my mother-in-law and her guest list requests, the day after my initial post, my now husband sent a short text to both of his parents, saying her extended family wasn't invited and we were done having the conversation. Added in that we were disappointed with their behavior and that they caused unnecessary stress. The response was, interesting. My mother-in-law just responded, saying she invited these people because we said it was okay in prior conversations. That never happened. And she has always been supportive of the wedding. That was never a concern, but now it is. There were no apologies, but we weren't expecting any. She also never said she would uninvite her guests, but we can confirm they did not come to the wedding. His dad even made a comment about how selective the guest list was in his speech. Tried to make it sound like everyone there should feel special they got an invite. Such a classy guy. Response to common comments. How many people did she invite? We don't actually know. She was vague and told people different things. The text to us made it seem like she sent an open invite to her extended family and their families. How many people that includes is a mystery. Higher security. This was a big consideration, and I had looked into it. Cost-wise, we just couldn't do it. Luckily, we have some large, scary friends and family that could act as security in any given situation. Since we had no issues, there was no need for them. We're very happy it all worked out in the end. Just say no and have the wedding you want. That was always going to happen, and it did. The amount of things people wanted from us and our wedding was crazy. No was commonly heard from us. We had control over every single detail. In this instance, I was more concerned with people I didn't know showing up to the wedding because it was something we couldn't control, especially since we had no way of getting in contact with them, nor did we know how many people she invited. That's why I asked for advice. Thank you to everyone who provided meaningful advice. Life has been really peaceful since the wedding, and we are loving it. For those currently planning a wedding, take your time, enjoy the good moments, and do it your way. If you're worried about something going wrong, my mantra was, F it. Let me tell you, it helped a lot. Scaling Stories Corner. Well, it's great that OP's wedding went off without any dramatic problems caused by her mother-in-law. That would have really sucked for her. I kind of hate how her mother-in-law didn't even bother trying to listen to her son and OP when they told them to stop their crap. I know me personally, if someone tries to pull the, oh, but you said it was okay, BS, when I know for a fact I never said such a thing, I would absolutely shut that down super firmly and tell them that they are lying, and I know for a fact they are lying. OP's father-in-law making a cheeky comment about how special everyone should feel because they were invited would have also rubbed me the wrong way. Like, OP's fiancé, or I guess now husband, was worried about OP building a relationship with his parents. But having a relationship with these kinds of people sounds exhausting. And honestly, I don't know if I would want to deal with that. Okay, friends. So that concludes today's video. Leave a like and comment down below to let me know what you thought of it. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.